What's up, everybody? My name is Stephen Billington, and welcome to the Penguin Outdoors podcast. For those of you that are listening on audio platforms, I just want to throw out there that there is a video version of the podcast available to you. You can find that on YouTube, on the Penguin Outdoors YouTube channel. And while you're there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And hey, whatever format you're listening to, whatever platform on audio, make sure to give the podcast a good rating and follow it so that you'll know when new episodes come out. So just a quick note for those of you watching on video form, if there are any kind of delays, lag, anything like that in the video, I really do apologize. I'm waiting on my new webcam to come in. The other webcam has died from since the last episode, and I'm using my GoPro Hero 9. They're not the greatest for something like this, but it's getting the job done for the night, so we're just going to go ahead and rock and roll with it. So really, this episode is like kind of a what has Steve been up to episode. Obviously, I don't have any guests on with me tonight. Trey and Christian aren't here. Maybe they'll be here for the next one, because having those guys on the podcast was a pretty awesome experience. And I learned a lot from that podcast, because it was my first podcast where I had guests on at all. And the audio was completely botched in the end. And a hard lesson that I learned from it was I realized that for all the technology in front of me that's running this thing, I did not have everybody recording into their own audio channel. So in the final product, the final output, all of the audio was in one audio track, and that just made it so difficult to try and clean up the problems. And we've now rectified that. Everything's on its own audio track, so hard lesson learned there, but should I be looking up there at the camera? See, it's weird, because where the camera is, if I look up at it, it just doesn't look right. And when I'm down here looking at myself, it also doesn't look right. Damned if you do, damned if you don't tonight. But so what has Steve been up to? Well, Steve has not been fishing, which has been both frustrating and a little liberating. It's pretty cold outside, and I don't mind fishing in the cold, but y'all, my motivation to get the kayak on the water goes way down this time of year, and bank fishing tends to go way up. So I'm actually hoping to do some fishing tomorrow, maybe out at the farm pond. I don't think it's going to be frozen over. And so I've been thinking about that, but mostly what I've been up to is a complete overhaul of my kayak trailer. So for those of you that are viewers of the YouTube channel, you have probably seen not one video that I've made, but two, it might even honestly be 3 videos that I've made about my kayak trailer. So my kayak trailer has been through several rebuilds. So it's a Harbor Freight 4x8 utility trailer. And the first year that I made it, I had my buddy weld these steel sides all the way around it, made it almost like a box, covered those in wood, and was putting the kayaks up on top, and then I would put camping gear and stuff down below. And that was okay, but then I was like, I want to be able to just roll the kayak off into the water. So then it just became a kayak trailer with nothing but a plywood deck, and I'd strap the Outback down to it and get to the lake, and I wouldn't go down the boat ramps with it. The lights weren't waterproof, the way it was just like a whole thing. And so coming into this year, I was like, okay, I want a trailer with bunks. I want to be able, and LED sealed waterproof lights. I want to roll down the ramp, slide her off, game on. And that's what I did. And it worked great. And then along came the girlfriend, and the daughter, and their kayaks, and Kira was using a 6-foot kids kayak up until halfway through this year. So I would just throw that thing in the back seat of the Charger. Didn't need to be on the trailer. But she's in a big girl kayak now, and so all of a sudden I had this need to have multiple kayaks on the trailer. And I was like, okay, well, how am I going to do that? So I got some uni strut and just built a real crude overhead thing for the kayaks. And the problem became with that was like, okay, well, if the seat on the so I like a little side note. I like to travel with my kayak ready for the water. I like to pull up to the lake, do a couple of things, and slide that bad boy off into the water. I don't take out my seat. I don't take off my motor. I don't take out my battery. I don't take out my black pack. That thing is 99.9% ready for the water when it's rolling down the highway. That's how I like to roll. So with the overhead uni strut, it was like, okay, well, if the seat isn't folded down, it hits the uni strut and can't get it back on the trailer, which was fine, except every now and then I would forget to flip the seat forward, like before I would back down the ramp and everything. And now I'm like walking through the water to fold the seat down. Sometimes it would miss the bunk and it's banging into some of the metal stuff, and it just wasn't right. So I spent a lot of time, like pretty much all of the summer of this year, thinking about how I want my kayak trailer lined out so that I could redo it and call it a day. And I spent a lot of time looking at like stuff people have already made, stuff that's for sale. And I'm just like, I knew I didn't want to buy a new trailer to start from. Like, I already have this trailer. This trailer's been good to me. There were some little upgrades that I had done to make it better. I wanted to stick with this trailer. So I took some ideas from some places, some ideas of my own, and I have now come up with what I think is going to be the final version of my kayak trailer. So bold enough to say that I actually think this kayak trailer design will be so good that I could see people taking it and like making a more professional version that they sell people for a lot of money. But I am building it very affordably from a very affordable trailer. And because I'm doing this whole rebuild, obviously I wanted to film it all for my viewers. But I wanted to film it not from a place of, hey, here's a kayak trailer that's already like functional. Let me just show you like a little bit of modification that I did, because that's what my second video kind of was. It didn't show like a start to finish. So for this rebuild, I have actually taken the trailer back down to the frame, and I am showing y'all everything from start to finish, and I'm doing a lot. And I gotta toot my own horn here. I've had some dang old good ideas, and I've seen some good ideas that I'm kind of adapting, and I'm showing you guys how you can build this badass trailer that I'm building. I haven't come up with a name yet. I need to think of a name. But this badass trailer that I'm building, without spending a ton of money and without being all that handy. Y'all, I can barely use a measuring tape. Like, I tend to build stuff that uses even numbers because, like, one time, my buddy Jose, I was helping him with something, and I had he had the dummy end, is what he calls it, the end that he's holding on the board or whatever it was. And I'm all the way down there with the measuring tape, and he goes, all right, well, how long is it? And I don't remember what it was, but it was something like, I don't know, it's 8 feet and 3 lines. And he's like, what are you talking about, 8 feet and 3 lines? I'm like, yeah, it's at 8, and then there's like these 3 lines here. Because, I mean, I don't I don't know what they are. Like, I was not built to work with my hands, y'all. So the point that I'm making here is I'm showing y'all how to build a trailer that anybody can build, from a base model trailer that anybody can buy. And if you can afford a kayak worthy of putting on a trailer, you can afford the Harbor Freight 4x8 trailer, especially when they're on sale. I think I paid like $400 for the trailer itself. It's absolutely beautiful, and I've done some upgrades to make it a great trailer, and I'm going to show it all to you guys. So that's really what Steve has been up to, is this kayak trailer. And it's bugging me that it's not done yet, because obviously I want to be able to get out on the water. Like, last week, the week of Christmas, the weather here in Missouri, y'all, was wild. It was like almost 70 degrees one day, and people are out ripping lips, and I'm just like, yeah, don't have any way to get the kayak to the lake at the moment. But that's okay. It's all going to be worth it for 2024 when I'm doing all this traveling that I'm going to be doing, and when I'm launching early mornings and Oh God, I can't tell you how worth it it's going to be. All this labor that I'm doing now. But that's what I've been up to is the kayak trailer. And honestly, a big part of what's taken some time right now is while it's down at the frame, I just took a lot of time to strengthen it up. You know, putting welds in different places, and because really, it's just important to me. Like this one, I want this to be the last time that I build the trailer. I want to know that, like, when I hook the trailer up to the car to go, that it's ready to go and that it's just set up the way that I want and that it's going to work right and work the same way every time consistently and do what I need to do. Guys, speaking of things working consistently and the best they can every time, I want to talk to you about FX Extreme Custom Rods. Y'all, these fishing rods, oh my God. Honestly, they should charge more for them than they do because they are worth every penny and then some. I particularly like the Extreme Angler series. That's what I'm using right now. They have a variety of rods in the Extreme Angler series for whatever it is that you want to do. But like for me, I'm a big chatterbait guy. I chatterbait 99% of the time. I hit them fish over the head with that chatterbait over and over and over and over and over and over. I mean, I love the chatterbait. So my favorite rod from FX Custom Rods is actually a 6'9", which I know you're really surprised because a bass fisherman telling you not a rod that's like a 6'9" instead of like 7'2" is like sacrilege, right? It certainly seems that way sometimes. But my favorite rod is a 6'9", medium heavy, extra fast, and y'all, that rod can do so many different things. I mean, I have two of them in my arsenal, and they're just such versatile rods. And what's really nice about FX Extreme Custom Rods is when you go on their website and you click on a specific rod, it tells you not only the specs of that rod, but what it's perfect for. It gives you the weight ranges, the lure types. It really just helps you dial in exactly which rod that you want to grab. And you really just can't go wrong with a fishing rod from FX Extreme Custom Rods. So definitely check them out. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down below. Let them know that Steve from Penguin Outdoors sent you. And yeah, tight lines, man. Enjoy those rods. Let's get back to the podcast. So with the trailer, I know it seems kind of redundant to keep talking about it, but it really is like the focal point of my existence at the moment. One of the biggest upgrades I've done already is I changed the tires. The thing comes with like 15 and a half by 12 tires that are kind of junk, to be honest, and they're only rated for 55 miles an hour. And how those tires have survived me for 3 years, I guess maybe it's not even fair to call them junk because I am hard on everything I own, and I have definitely not paid attention to that 55 mile an hour rating. But they're just not the greatest tires, and I replaced them with 175, I believe, 80 13s. They're bigger, they're wider, and they're rated for like 81 miles an hour. They're more like a car tire than a trailer tire. And they're not only going to give me a lot more stability and the ability to cruise a little faster, but they're just going to give me a lot of peace of mind over the trailer behind me. And the tires, it's just a huge upgrade, especially with the bearing buddies on there. It's just, I'm feeling really great about that particular upgrade. The other thing that I'm doing is a lot with the lighting. I'm adding lighting. I'm using rock lighting, like for Jeeps and stuff, actually. I'm adding lighting underneath the trailer. I'm adding lighting to the side. And I'm actually going to have these kayak racks. They're hard to explain, so I'm not going to bother trying to explain them. But I'm going to have these kayak racks that are on the sides that are just like out of the way. Like they don't interfere with the center of the kayak trailer at all. And because they kind of angle in slightly towards where the Pro Angler or my other new kayak will sit on the deck, I'm going to have a light on each one of those. And all of the lights are going to be wirelessly controlled with an FPV power distribution hub and an independent battery on the trailer. So I can have all of them on or just some of them on. Like there's a lot of control over what lights will be on and what lights won't. So I'll be able to actually have the kayak illuminated going down the highway, not only so that I can keep an eye on it when it's pitch black and I'm towing it behind me, but it also illuminates the kayak and shows off the YouTube channel and the sponsors. And let's be honest, that's cool. If you're a fisherman, you're fishing out of a kayak, you almost undoubtedly have stickers on it, and your YouTube channel, if you have a channel, your Instagram. Who doesn't want that lit up going down the road for people to look at? I mean, it's just cool. So I'm doing a lot with the lighting. I did the tires. It is going to be a flat deck again. I think that's really just the way to go. I've got some great anchors that were provided by a company, Soul Breeze, I believe. Sorry, guys, I can't remember right off, but I'll put a link in the description on the actual video when it comes out with all the materials. I'm getting rid of the lock racks. I mean, I loved them at first, but they kind of tore up the kayak a little bit, and the rubber on them wears out way too fast. So, unfortunately, I'm getting rid of the lock racks. They didn't meet my standard when it was all said and done. But yeah, so lots of changes coming rather, and I really just have a whole vision for how the trailer will come out, and it's fun to see it kind of go that direction, and I hope that I can bring it to fruition, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. And hey, one more segue. Speaking of vision, don't forget to check out my other channel sponsor, SolarBat Sunglasses. Y'all, I've owned a lot of sunglasses. I used to be an Oakley fanboy for a long time. There was another sunglass company that sponsored me when I first started out this channel, and unfortunately, the quality for that particular brand, which I'm not going to name, plummeted through the floor. So it really is important to me as a content creator to only bring you products that I use and that I believe in. And SolarBat sunglasses, y'all, they set a whole different standard for eyewear. The prices are absolutely fantastic, and the quality is out of this world. The owner, Gary, is, I'm going to say this wrong, okay, because there's a lot of eye people, like eye doctors. I believe it's optometrist, but irregardless, the man knows eyeballs, okay? He understands your eyes. He understands what they need. He understands eyewear. He understands protection. And he understands fashion, too. Because, y'all, let me tell you, when I put on them solar bats, I'm a good-looking man, okay? I mean, I know I'm already pretty good-looking with the long hair and, you know, this beautiful face despite all the forehead and the big nose I was given. I'm a pretty man. But them solar bats, y'all, they're like ice on the cake, baby. They're really fun to look at. So for those of you that are watching on video form, I'll put a link to SolarBat sunglasses down below in the video description. And for those of you listening on audio form, solarbat.com, @SolarBat, you can find them that way. So anyway, that's my plug. Back to the podcast. Let's get back to talking about the trailer. So let's talk about what else Steve is going to be up to. With it getting as cold as it is right now, it's almost a great time to start bank fishing for catfish. This is a good time of the year, especially if you're using live bait, to just broadcast some rods out there and let them sit and bring in some big catfish to start filling up the freezer for those summer catfish fries. So hopefully we'll be doing some catfishing soon here. And we're about to roll into 2024. It's almost the end of the year. As I record this, we're just 3 days away from it. And that means tournament season is right around the corner. Y'all, it is approaching like a freight train. It's like, I keep saying, man, I can't wait for the 2024 season, and I can't, but it's also starting to feel like, man, y'all, I could wait for the 2024 season. Like, I'm not ready. I've got the trailer to finish. I got some changes to make to the Pro Angler. My new kayak will hopefully be here soon, and I'm going to have to get that thing all rigged out, and we'll talk more about that later on. I'm hoping to change vehicles between now and then. Got to get the rooftop camper set up. It's just, there's a lot to do, but I'm excited for it. And, you know, what's nice about the cold weather is with less people being on the move, it's easier to catch people. So hopefully be bringing you more podcasts with Trey and Christian on here pretty soon. Thinking about seeing about maybe having my daughter on. Be interested, as a single dad. It's just it's been her and I for so long, and she has to endure my fishing habits as much as anybody. So, be kind of curious to have a Q&A kind of daddy-daughter podcast. So we might do that pretty soon here. But hopefully we'll get out fishing in the next couple of days. Actually, let's look at the weather report. This might be a little boring for those of y'all listen on audio form, but for the video people, you can just sit here and watch my pretty face. Oh my God. Let's see, Saturday. Y'all, it's going to be a high of 44 tomorrow. I might just have to go check out the farm pond. Maybe we can find some lethargic bass that are looking to smash some chatterbaits. Because y'all know I be chattering even in the winter. I can't help it. Oh, I love my chatterbaits. But I won't keep y'all too much longer. I kind of rambled about my kayak trailer, which, Christian and Trey, they're sick of hearing about my kayak trailer. So I figured I'd share some of it with you fine folks, and because I just can't stop talking about it. I'm excited. I'm going to be doing some more welding tomorrow and maybe wiring some lights, and oy vey, I can't wait to be back on the water. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you're watching on video, don't forget to hit subscribe. And if you're listening on podcast form, please give us a good rating, follow us, subscribe, whatever it looks like on your particular listening platform. And don't forget to check out the 2 channel sponsors I already mentioned, FX Extreme Custom Rods and Solar Bat Sunglasses. Until next time, guys, tight lines. Thanks for listening.